wonder how I ever made it through a day. How did I settle for a world in shades of gray?
In 2006, Suzanne won first place in the Jane Magazine short story contest. And it was a true story about her choking on a vitamin. And this is the first line of that story. I have made it crystal clear to my friends and family that I want wailing at my funeral. This whole throwing a party after someone dies to celebrate their life thing is crap. I want people hurling their bodies at my open coffin, screaming my name, followed by why? At my funeral, I will be lying inside my magnificent coffin, camera ready, and next to my coffin will be a poster-sized photo of myself on an easel, a candid color photo. I'll be in mid-laugh, looking radiant, full of life, and all-knowing. This is the girl that I fell in love with when I first met her. This was the sense of humor. This was the dark, wicked sense of humor that Suzanne had. This is how she looked at life. Nothing was off limits when it came to the funny. And this is the first time I met her was 16 years ago. And it was back when I was acting, and it was on an audition for a commercial, and we were paired up together to audition as co-workers at an office. And she was looking at me with her famous, gigantic, soulful eyes, like a Jewish deer. But then she squinted as if to say, great, who's this weird short guy I'm stuck with to go into this audition? She seemed cocky, and I was instantly smitten, and I wanted to impress her. So in the audition, when the director asked us if we had any questions about the commercial, I raised my hand and I said, yes, I do. I have a lot of questions. This office we work in, does it have a dental plan? Is there a break room with snacks? I'm just trying to get oriented. And without missing a beat, Suzanne jumps in and she says, I have a question. I get a sense that this guy and I have had an office affair. And it didn't go well. We slept together maybe once. It wasn't good. And now we're dealing with the aftermath of it. Is that what you're getting to from this? And the director looked at us like we were insane. He said, do you think you could just pretend to be working and then look up at the computer? And when we exited, we walked out of that room, we smiled at each other like two old Catskills comedians would smile at each other, knowing we had this mutual, we were both willing to blow this audition just for a decent joke, a decent laugh. But the joke was on us because we booked the job. And we never looked back. I don't even remember what the spot was. I don't remember what happened that day, but we were instant friends, and I've been trying to make her laugh and impress her ever since. Well, it's Suzanne who taught me about real funny and to always respect the bit. There was no excuses and there were no bounds. For example, when I eventually became a TV writer, I would entertain the writer's room by doing my best imitations of Suzanne's voices and her characters. And you've probably heard her do the pitch-perfect woman from the 1940s movie who's in bed and she's calling for help. And when I would get done ruining these imitations, I decided I had to do this. I would call her on speakerphone from the writer's room. And I remember the first time I did this, I said, Suzanne, it's Andy. You're on speakerphone with the writer's room, and I need you to do the bit. And she said, I'm in the middle of Trader Joe's right now. And I said, I know, but who have I reached? And there was only the slightest hesitation. Then through the speakerphone, this is Dr. and Mrs. Gregory Van Horn. I can't get up. I'm infirm. Hello? My husband, he's away. I don't, hello? She did 10 minutes in the middle of Trader Joe's, had everybody in the writer's room on the floor. But to come up here and say that Suzanne made us all laugh probably harder than anyone else in our lives, this is something that we all know, that we were all lucky enough to experience if we even spent a moment with her. But the talent that poured out of her. She was as good as it gets, and there was no arguing about that. But the fire that burned inside of her to share that talent, it never went away, ever, ever. No matter what rejection came her way, she just had a love for it. A love for acting and actors, but a true love for what it means to have the privilege to act. Because to her, that's what it was. It was a privilege, and she treated every role as a gift, not her right to work. And I've never seen anything like that. I mean, what a lesson it is to be a true artist. But that's not the only thing that Suzanne taught me. She taught me how to hug. I was in my 30s already. I probably should have known how to do that. But when I first hugged her, she said, "What the hell was that?" I said, "What? I was hugging you." And she said, "No, but what the hell was it? You're patting me on the, what's the pat on the back?" She said, The pat is a cop-out. Are you a pussy? When you hug, you squeeze and you hold it. So the next time I hugged her, I held it a little bit longer, a little bit tighter. And I said, "How was that?" And she said, "Better." But it got better and better and better, and she made me a better hugger. And once you had a Krull hug, you were just hooked. And I will miss those hugs. But Suzanne taught me, without even realizing it, probably the most invaluable lesson of my life. Suzanne did not always have an easy time, and things did not always go her way, but she never tried to sugarcoat the world. Somehow she knew the secret. Sometimes you hurt. Sometimes you feel angry. Sometimes you feel cheated. Sometimes you feel so profoundly sad that you don't want to go on. But the important thing is you are feeling. And she taught me that you run to these things because this is life. Feel it. And I have never met anyone relish in feeling everything and facing it head on like Suzanne. And some would say that this is living life fearlessly, but I think that Suzanne would humbly say, hey, sometimes things are scary, really scary, and it's okay to be afraid. And she taught me that you are supposed to cry, you are supposed to be angry because this is life, but you are all supposed to cherish and to love and to celebrate and to relish in it all, not just the good stuff, but yes, the good stuff. And she did that as well, like nobody's business. Sometimes you wanted to say, enough already, I get it. The way that old man's shoe is untied, it's glorious, yes, and symbolic and beautiful, yes, I get it. But the way of looking at the world, her way of looking at the world was what made her an amazing artist, but it's also the key quality that allowed her to be an even more amazing friend. My God, how lucky are all of us who could say that Suzanne was our friend. I am so proud of that. Would Suzanne be the kind of friend that would pick you up and drive you to the airport for a 6 a.m. flight? No, she is not. Not on your life. Good luck. But when you called Suzanne in the middle of the night with a crisis, which I did too many times, you didn't just get a sympathetic ear. You got Suzanne on the other side of the phone saying, okay, so seriously, how did you reach the phone up so high? Did your mommy help you? I mean, really, did you get on a step stool to get to... It was always a short joke before she started with anything. But then you'd hear Suzanne on the other side of the line rolling up her sleeves and saying, okay, are you ready to go deep? Because we're going to solve this thing. And we always did. We dug deep and we shared our darkest thoughts and our biggest fears. Think about that. How rare is that? People don't often even share that part of themselves with their spouses, but I had that. I had that with Suzanne because she was my friend. I'll be forever grateful for that. You know, so many times you have so many regrets that you have a friend that you didn't say that to, that you didn't express that to, and I'm grateful for that too because I don't think a day went by with Suzanne and I when we need just glory in our friendship, applaud each other for our friendship, and tell each other that we loved each other. So I knew that it would take someone very special to be Suzanne's partner, someone who was ready and strong enough to go on this adventure with Suzanne of living and feeling and facing life head on. And Suzanne would often describe this person as James Gandolfini. But instead, eventually, it was Peter who appeared in her life and not James Gandolfini. But Peter was perfect. He was an amazing, quietly strong presence, and a man who loved Suzanne for all that she was. A rock, her rock, the love of her life. And I love him for it. I love you, Peter Sprite. I love you for loving Suzanne and giving her that love while she was on this planet and giving her the love story that she so deserved. Peter can build anything you see in this room with your hands, which to a Jew from Chicago basically makes him Jesus Christ. But it's what the two of them built in their hearts and with their hearts that's indestructible. And that love brought Harper joy. And they say that motherhood changes you forever, and I know that to be true with Suzanne, because the entrance of Harper Joy created such a blinding light in their lives that it was almost impossible for Suzanne to see any of the darkness. It was kind of annoying. For example, I'm reminded of a game night soon after Harper arrived in which each person was to write on a piece of paper a secret fact about themselves that was true, but people might be surprised about. And a moderator would read the facts, and one by one, the person whose turn it was supposed to guess which secret fact belonged to which person. And eventually, one of these pieces of paper was unfolded, and it read, "I love Harper Joy." And I turned to Suzanne annoyed, and I said, "Obviously, you don't get the point of the game. It's supposed to be a secret, hard fact to guess." And she looked at me with absolutely no irony at all and said, "I know, but it's true." It was conveyed to me that near the end, at the hospital, Suzanne was struggling. And she said, "I'm fighting for every inch of my life right now. I can't believe this is my life." But to you, sweet Krulls, I say, what a life. What a life. What a life. Look at what love you brought to the world, and the mark you left on it, and the people you touched everywhere you went. What a life you lived. And thank you for teaching me how to live mine. I love you, Kruller. Committee forever.